Everyone mocked the poor cleaning lady, until the billionaire father asked for her hand in marriage. The day had barely begun, and Camilla was already there, hunched over the marble floor of the main hallway at St. George's Academy. Her movements were methodical, almost automatic, as if her body performed the task without needing her mind. The grey uniform, 2 sizes too big for her thin frame, made her fade even more against the light-colored walls. At 23, Camilla seemed to carry the weight of someone much older. Her eyes, always downcast, avoided contact. Her face, which could have been beautiful, remained hidden by strands of brown hair that fell like curtains. Even when someone approached, she didn't look up. She had learned it was better not to see or be seen. "Watch the bucket." A woman in high heels almost tripped over the cleaning supplies and glared at Camilla with contempt. These cleaners are getting more incompetent by the day. They should be more selective with their hiring. The woman didn't even wait for a reply. To her, Camilla was just part of the furniture, an object without a voice or feelings. Camilla swallowed hard and pulled the bucket closer, making herself even smaller. In the distance, in the entrance hall, 3 mothers were chatting excitedly while waiting to pick up their children. They wore expensive clothes and flaunted designer handbags. "Jay, have you seen the new cleaning lady? She looks like a ghost walking down the hall," commented the first, adjusting her silk scarf. "They say she has no family, no education, she probably can't even read properly," replied the second, checking her perfectly manicured nails. "And that uniform, it looks like a potato sack." "I think the school should demand a better appearance. After all, our children are around these people," added the third, scrolling through her latest generation smartphone. Their laughter echoed through the hall. Camilla, who was passing by with her cleaning cart, heard every word. Her heart tightened, but her face remained impassive. She was used to it. It was as if the cruel words slid off an invisible armor she had built over the years. In the teacher's lounge, the conversation wasn't much different. "Have you tried talking to the new cleaning lady? It's like talking to a wall," the coordinator said to the principal. "She does her job, that's what matters. We don't pay her for her charisma," he replied, indifferent. No one knew that Camilla had a name other than the cleaning lady. No one knew she lived in a small rented room 3 blocks away. No one imagined that every night she cried, hugging the only picture she had of her parents, who died in an accident when she was just 12. After that day, her life became a whirlwind of foster homes and precarious jobs. With no relatives to take her in, she was tossed from one place to another until she turned 18. She had little schooling, just enough not to be completely illiterate. Her dreams were buried one by one, until only survival remained. The clock struck 3:30 p.m. when the sound of children flooded the hallways. It was time for the kindergartners to be dismissed. Camilla hurried to finish cleaning before the avalanche of little dirty feet passed through. That's when she felt something different, a small tug on her uniform. "Hi, are you sad?" Camilla froze. She looked down and met 2 big blue eyes staring at her with curiosity. A little blonde girl, with golden curls and a pink dress, was smiling at her. It was the first time in weeks that someone had truly looked at her face. No, I'm just working," Camilla replied, her voice hoarse from disuse. "My name is Emily. I'm 5 years old. And you?" Before she could answer, Camilla heard a man's voice call out, "Emily!" "Where did you get to, princess?" A tall man in a well-tailored suit and a worried expression appeared in the hallway. August Rivero, the owner of one of the city's largest tech companies and a single father, was known for being demanding and a perfectionist. Everyone at the school treated him with extreme deference, except his daughter, who could melt him with a simple smile. "Daddy, look, I found a lady who cleans everything. She's magical. She makes everything shiny," Emily exclaimed with childish innocence. August gave Camilla a quick glance, nodded politely, and took his daughter's hand. "Let's go, Emily. We're late for your ballet class. Bye, lady. I'll bring you a drawing tomorrow," Emily shouted as she was led away. Camilla stood still, a strange feeling in her chest. Someone had seen her, not as an object, not as the cleaning lady, but as a person. The next day, to her surprise, Emily kept her promise. She slipped away from her teacher during recess and ran to Camilla, who was cleaning the hallway windows. "Say, look what I made," The little girl held out a colorful piece of paper, showing what looked like a woman in a dress, not a uniform, with a big smile on her face. "It's you, but happy." Camilla took the drawing with trembling hands. She couldn't hold back a smile, the first in a long time. "It's beautiful, Emily, thank you." "What's your name?" "I want to write it on my next drawing." "Camilla." "Camilla," the girl repeated, spelling it out as if it were a treasure. "That's a pretty name." In the days that followed, Emily always found a way to slip away and talk to Camilla. She brought drawings, told stories from school, and asked about the work of cleaning. To the little girl, this quiet, gentle woman was fascinating, someone who truly listened to her, without rushing. Camilla began to eagerly await these moments. For the first time in years, she felt seen, important to someone. She started fixing her hair before work and would occasionally bring a hidden piece of candy or chocolate for Emily. August had always busy with calls and meetings, barely noticed these interactions, until the day he arrived early to pick up his daughter and found her sitting in the hallway, chatting animatedly with the cleaning lady. "And then the prince discovered that the princess was magical," Emily was saying, gesturing excitedly. "And what did he do?" Camilla asked, completely absorbed in the little girl's made-up story. "He married her, of course, because he saw that she was special, even when no one else did." August watched the scene from a distance, surprised to see his daughter so comfortable with an employee he had hardly noticed before. He was even more surprised to see the delicate smile that transformed the young woman's face, lighting it up completely. For a moment, their eyes met. Camilla immediately returned to her serious expression and stood up, murmuring apologies and getting back to work. But something had changed. For the first time, August truly saw her. Not as part of the furniture or a function, but as a person. A young woman with eyes that seemed to hold sad stories, but that his daughter somehow could make smile. That night, as she returned to her lonely room, Camilla felt something different stirring inside her, a small flame of hope that had been extinguished long ago. And it was all because of a 5-year-old blonde girl who saw beyond the grey uniform and the hunched posture. The invisible woman was slowly beginning to appear. Spring arrived, bringing with it the day of St. George's Academy's traditional annual gathering. The event brought together parents, students, and staff to celebrate the end of the first semester. The central courtyard was decorated with colourful ribbons and tables laden with food and drinks. Soft music played in the background as the city's most influential families mingled. Camilla had been working since early morning. Her hands already ached from cleaning, organising, and preparing the space. Unlike the other staff members, she hadn't been given time off to attend the party. Someone had to ensure everything remained in order during the event. "You'll be responsible for the continuous cleaning of the courtyard and the restrooms," the coordinator instructed, without looking directly at her. "And please, keep a low profile." Camilla just nodded. That was how it worked. Invisible during events. Visible only when something needed to be cleaned. She adjusted her grey uniform, tied her hair in a tight bun, and began her routine, moving like a shadow among the guests. The hours passed, and the event was in full swing when the accident happened. One of the children spilled red juice on the white marble floor near the main table. Immediately, Camilla hurried over with her cleaning supplies, kneeling to remove the stain before it spread. "Look who decided to show up at the party," commented one of the mothers Camilla recognized from the school mornings, her voice loud. "Our very own Cinderella without her prince." Faint laughter rippled through the nearby group. Camilla kept her head down, focusing on her task. "Dear, you should learn to blend in better," the woman continued, raising her glass of champagne. "That uniform is so depressing, but maybe it suits you." More laughter. Camilla felt her face burn, but she kept scrubbing the stain with even more force. "Has anyone ever thought about her story?" another mother asked, feigning seriousness. "I bet it's tragic. All these cleaning ladies have tragic stories. Probably abandoned by her family, or worse." The woman paused dramatically. "Maybe she doesn't even know who the father of her children is." "But does she have children?" a third questioned, surprised. "I'm just speculating, darling. These types of people usually have a dozen." The collective laughter grew louder. Some people nearby started to notice the situation, watching with discomfort or morbid curiosity. No one intervened. Camilla felt tears burning her eyes. She wanted to disappear, to become truly invisible, not just ignored. Her hands trembled as she tried to finish the job and escape. "Hey, aren't you going to defend yourself?" The first woman stepped forward, leaning in. The alcohol made her bolder. "Or can't you talk?" "Don't they teach that in the slums?" That's when a child's voice cut through the air, startling everyone. "Stop being mean to Camilla." A sudden silence fell over the group. Emily, in her light blue dress that highlighted her eyes, ran to Camilla and threw her arms around her, hugging her tightly. "Camilla is my friend. She's nice and kind and tells me stories." The little girl's voice was choked with emerging tears. "You're mean like the witches in the stories." The women were paralyzed. All eyes converged on the unusual scene. August Rivero's daughter, heiress to a fortune, passionately defending a simple cleaning lady. "Emily, dear, come back here," one of the women called, embarrassed. "You shouldn't be mixing with—" "No!" the girl shouted, clinging even tighter to Camilla, who was now completely still, unsure how to react. "Camilla is my friend, and you hurt her." Fat tears streamed down the child's face. Camilla, forgetting for a moment where she was, gently hugged Emily, trying to calm her down. "It's okay, little one," she whispered. "Don't cry for me." "But they were mean to you," Emily sobbed, "and Daddy says mean people deserve to be punished." It was at that moment that the crowd parted, making way for August Rivero. Tall, imposing in his dark suit, his brow was furrowed with an expression few had ever witnessed. His eyes quickly moved from his crying daughter to the kneeling Camilla, and then to the now silent group of women. "What is going on here?" His voice was calm but laced with authority. "Daddy!" Emily ran to her father, pointing at the women. "They're being mean to Camilla." "They said ugly things and laughed at her. That's not right, is it?" August looked at his daughter, then at Camilla, who was now standing up, trying to look composed despite her trembling hands and moist eyes. "Mr. Rivero," one of the women began with a forced smile, "your daughter is confused. We were just chatting and I heard everything, Mrs. Preston." His tone cut through her explanation like a razor. "I was close enough to hear every word." A heavy silence fell over the group. Some guests began to draw closer, curious about the growing tension. August knelt to his daughter's level. "Why do you like Camilla so much?" The question surprised everyone, especially Camilla. "Because she's kind and she really listens to me," the girl answered without hesitation. "And she cleans everything to make it pretty for us, but nobody says thank you, and she always smiles at me, even when she's sad." August nodded, as if that childish answer contained all the wisdom in the world. He stood up slowly and turned to Camilla, who looked like she wanted to disappear. "What's your full name?" he asked. "Camilla Torres, sir," she answered, almost in a whisper. "Camilla Torres," he repeated, as if testing the sound of the words. Then, to everyone's astonishment, he took 2 steps toward her. "Do you have any family, Camilla?" She swallowed hard. "No, sir. My parents died when I was a child." Something in August's gaze shifted, a flicker of recognition, perhaps understanding. "And are you happy working here, being treated this way?" Camilla couldn't answer. What could she say? That she endured daily humiliations because she needed the money, that she dreamed of a different life every night before falling asleep. Her silence was answer enough. What happened next would go down in the history of St. George's Academy, told and retold for years to come. August Rivero, a man known for his rationality and coldness in business, did something completely unexpected. "Camilla Torres," he said, his voice loud and clear for everyone to hear, "would you marry me?" Time seemed to freeze. The buzz of conversation ceased completely. Champagne glasses hung suspended in the air, halfway to mouths agape in shock. Camilla thought she had misheard. What? What?" she stammered, feeling her legs grow weak. "I'm asking you to marry me," he repeated more gently now. "No one should be treated the way you were today. And my daughter, at only 5 years old, saw something in you that all these educated adults failed to see. Emily, only partially understanding what was happening, jumped for joy. Say yes, Camilla, then you'll come live with us and you'll never be sad again. Camilla's face was a mixture of confusion, disbelief, and something that looked like hope. The women who had humiliated her moments before now looked as if they had seen a ghost. Mr. Rivero, the school principal interrupted, approaching nervously. Perhaps this isn't the most appropriate venue for... On the contrary, August cut in, without taking his eyes off Camilla. This is exactly the right place, where everyone can bear witness. He held out his hand to her, a hand without a wedding ring, but one that carried the weight of a decision that would change 2 lives forever. You don't have to answer now, he said. But the offer stands. Camilla looked at his outstretched hand, at Emily smiling hopefully, at the shocked faces all around. It was like a strange, confusing dream, a moment of decision she never imagined she would face, especially not there, not like this. With a courage she didn't know she possessed, she extended her trembling hand and touched his. Yes, she answered, her voice almost inaudible. The hall erupted in murmurs as August smiled for the first time that evening. Emily ran to hug both of them. No one noticed when Mrs. Preston dropped her champagne glass, which shattered on the floor. Ironically, it would have been Camilla's job to clean up that mess. But not today, not as the invisible woman anymore. The morning after the gathering dawned overcast, as if the sky reflected the confusion in Camilla's mind. She woke up early, out of habit, and stared at the peeling ceiling of her small rented room. The events of the previous night felt like a distant dream, a made-up story. Did it really happen? Did the richest man in the city really propose to her, in front of everyone? The shrill ring of her cell phone interrupted her thoughts, an unknown number. "Hello," she answered hesitantly. "Miss Torres? This is Thomas, Mr. Rivero's personal assistant. I'm calling to inform you that Mr. Rivero will be by to pick you up in 30 minutes. He asks that you pack your personal belongings." Camilla's heart raced. "He's picking me up today?" "Yes, miss. In exactly 30 minutes. Any questions?" She wanted to ask 1,000 things, but she just mumbled a no and hung up. She looked around the modest room that had been her home for the past few years. She didn't have much to take. A small suitcase would be enough for all her clothes, the photo of her parents, and the few books she had managed to collect. In exactly 30 minutes, she heard the soft honk of a car and peeked out the window. A black, elegant and discreet sedan was waiting at the curb. August Rivero got out of the driver's seat. No chauffeur today. He had come to get her himself. Camilla took a deep breath, grabbed her suitcase and went downstairs. Upon seeing her, August walked toward her. "Good morning, Camilla," he greeted her, formal but gentle. "Are you ready?" She nodded, unable to form a coherent response. He took her suitcase naturally, as if it was something he did every day, and opened the car door for her. "What about the school?" Camilla finally managed to ask once they were in the car. "I've already taken care of it," he replied, starting the engine. "You won't be going back there, not as an employee or in any other capacity." His tone left no room for argument. August drove skillfully through the city streets, while Camilla watched out the window as the neighborhoods gradually changed, from simple to elegant, from old buildings to stately homes. "Emily is very excited," he commented, breaking the silence after a few minutes. "She spent the whole morning helping the housekeeper prepare your room." Camilla felt a wave of affection thinking of the little girl. She's special. Yes, she is. For the first time, August's serious expression softened. "And she seems to see something in you that I took too long to notice." Camilla didn't know what to say. Everything was happening too fast. Yesterday she was an invisible cleaning lady. Today she was in August Rivero's car, on her way to his mansion, supposedly as his future wife. "I know this is all unusual," he continued, as if reading her thoughts. "But I want you to know you don't have to be afraid. I won't do anything you don't want to. Why did you do it?" The question slipped out before she could stop it. "Why did you propose to me in front of everyone?" August slowed down, looking thoughtful. It was an impulse, I admit. Seeing those people treat you that way, seeing my daughter defend you with such love, something stirred in me. He paused. But I don't regret it. I think sometimes impulses reveal our truest desires. The car turned onto a tree-lined street and soon passed through an imposing gate. August's property was even more impressive than Camilla had imagined. Perfectly manicured gardens surrounded a house that looked more like a small palace, with modern, elegant lines. We're here, he announced, parking in front of the main entrance. Before they could even get out of the car, the front door of the house swung open and Emily ran out, her golden curls bouncing in the wind. "Camilla!" the girl shouted, jumping with joy. "You really came. You're going to live with us." Camilla barely had time to get out of the car before Emily threw herself into her arms. The child's tight hug melted some of the anxious ice that gripped her chest. Come see your room. I helped get it ready. I put flowers and everything." Emily pulled her hand urgently. August watched the scene with a discreet smile. "Go with her. We'll talk more later." Camilla let herself be led by the enthusiastic girl. As she entered the mansion, she couldn't help but gasp. The entrance hall, with its marble floor and curved staircase, was larger than her entire apartment. Original works of art decorated the walls, and a crystal chandelier hung from the high ceiling. "It's very beautiful," she murmured, feeling small and out of place. "You haven't seen anything yet," Emily exclaimed, pulling her toward the stairs. "Your room is the prettiest, after mine." They went up to the second floor, passing through a wide hallway with several doors. Emily stopped in front of one of them and opened it with a dramatic flourish. "Ta-da!" Princess Camilla's room. The room was large and airy, with big windows overlooking the garden. A king-size bed dominated the space, covered with a light blue quilt. There was a small sofa, an elegant desk, and a door that presumably led to a private bathroom. In a vase on the nightstand, fresh flowers completed the setting. "Do you like it?" Emily asked, looking at her expectantly. Camilla felt tears welling up. It was the most beautiful room she had ever seen in her life, and certainly the most beautiful she had ever been in. "It's perfect, Emily," she replied in a choked voice. "Thank you." The girl smiled, beaming. "I knew you'd like it. And look, you have your own bathroom and a giant closet, but there are no clothes in it yet. Daddy said he'll take you shopping." Camilla sat on the edge of the bed, trying to take it all in. Emily climbed up next to her, swinging her little legs in the air. "Are you happy to be living with us now?" The question was simple but loaded with meaning. Camilla looked at this child who, in some inexplicable way, had become her guardian angel. "I am," she answered sincerely. "Mostly because I get to be near you." Emily hugged her again, and they stayed like that for a moment, the former cleaning lady and the rich little girl, united by a bond that transcended social classes and expectations. "And why don't you rest for a bit?" a voice suggested from the doorway. It was August. "Lunch will be served in an hour. Emily, let Camilla get settled." "But Dad, I want to show her the rest of the house." "You'll have time for that later," he replied firmly but without harshness. "Now go help Martha set the table." Emily pouted, but obeyed. As she passed her father, she stood on her tiptoes to whisper something in his ear that made August smile. "I'll be in my office if you need anything," he said to Camilla before leaving. "Make yourself at home." Alone in the room, Camilla finally allowed the tears to flow. They were tears of relief, of confusion, of hope. She opened her small suitcase and took out the picture of her parents, placing it on the nightstand. "Look where I am now," she whispered to the image. "Would you believe this?" After a long shower in what seemed to be the most luxurious bathroom in the world, Camilla stared at her simple clothes on the bed. She chose the best she had, a pair of jeans without rips and a light blue blouse, the newest in her wardrobe. She let her hair down, something she rarely did. When she came down for lunch, following the sound of voices, she found August and Emily in the dining room. The table was set for three with fine china and silver cutlery. August looked up as he noticed her presence and, for a second, seemed surprised. It was the first time he had seen her without the grey uniform, with her hair down, framing her face. There was something different about her, a delicacy the uniform had hidden, a simple beauty that was beginning to blossom. "You look different," he commented, standing up out of politeness. "Camilla looks beautiful," Emily exclaimed, running to hug her legs. "Like a real princess." Lunch proceeded with Emily dominating the conversation, telling stories from school and asking Camilla 1,000 questions. August observed the interaction between them, noticing how Camilla answered each question with patience and affection, no matter how repetitive or absurd. "Day after lunch, will you play with me?" Emily asked, her blue eyes shining with expectation. "If your father allows it," Camilla replied, looking uncertainly at August. "Of course," he answered. "This is your home now, Camilla. You don't need to ask for permission for things like that." Her home. The words sounded strange. As beautiful as the place was, it still didn't feel real. It felt like at any moment someone would yell "cut," and she would be back to cleaning the school floors. The afternoon was dedicated to Emily. Camilla discovered that the girl had a room full of toys, many still in their packaging. They played with dolls, drew together, and Camilla even improvised a story about a brave princess who saved an entire kingdom. "You tell better stories than Daddy," Emily whispered as they colored in a drawing book. "He always forgets the middle parts." Camilla smiled. "Your dad must be very busy." "He works a lot," the girl confirmed, concentrating on her drawing. "But he's the best dad in the world. It's just that sometimes he gets sad." "Sad? Why?" Emily shrugged, with the simple wisdom of children. "Since Mommy went to heaven. But now you're here, so he won't be sad anymore." Camilla swallowed hard. She knew almost nothing about August's personal life, only rumors that he was a widower. She felt an even greater weight on her shoulders, a child's innocent expectation that she could heal the sadness of a man she barely knew. Dusk came too quickly. Camilla helped Emily with her bath and dressed her in pink unicorn pajamas. The girl insisted that she put her to bed. "Tell me one more story, please," Emily begged, already tucked into her bed, which was decorated like a princess castle. Camilla sat on the edge of the bed and began to invent a story about a star that wanted to see the world. Gradually, her voice grew more confident, the words flowing naturally as she created a magical world where stars came down to Earth to play with special children. "Like you," she finished, giving a soft kiss to Emily's forehead, who was already fighting sleep. "Camilla," the girl murmured, almost asleep. "Yes? Are you going to be my new mommy?" The question caught Camilla by surprise. I don't know, sweetie. It's complicated." "I wish you were," Emily whispered, her eyes already closed. "It would be nice to have a mommy again." Camilla sat there, watching the girl's breathing deepen until she was completely asleep. She stroked the golden curls spread across the pillow, feeling a wave of protectiveness she had never experienced before. That's when she realized she was being watched. August was standing in the doorway, leaning against the frame, watching the scene with an expression she couldn't decipher. "Kaisa, how long have you been there?" she asked quietly, getting up carefully so as not to wake Emily. "Long enough," he replied, also in a low voice. "You have a way with her." Camilla gave one last look at the sleeping girl before leaving the room. August closed the door softly. "Emily never lets anyone but me put her to bed," he commented as they walked down the hall. "Not even the nanny who was with us since she was born. She's a special child." "Yes, she is." August stopped, turning to face her. Under the soft light of the hallway lamps, his face seemed less severe. "Thank you for today. It was the first time in a long time I've seen her so happy." Camilla felt her face warm. "I didn't do anything special. I just played with her." "To Emily, that's everything." He hesitated, as if choosing his words. "And to me, too. Seeing you two together today, I realized I made the right decision last night." They looked at each other for a moment, a silence filled with possibilities hanging between them. For the first time, Camilla didn't feel intimidated by his gaze. She saw not the powerful businessman or the rich man, but just a father who loved his daughter and was searching for a little light in a life that, somehow also had its shadows. "Good night, August," she said, using his first name for the first time. A slight smile touched his lips. "Hi, good night, Camilla." She walked back to her room, feeling strangely light despite all the uncertainties. The day had been full of firsts, the first time without a uniform, the first time playing freely with Emily, the first time being treated as an equal in that house. As she closed her bedroom door, Camilla knew something was changing, not just around her, but within her. The invisible woman was slowly gaining color and a voice, and maybe, just maybe, a place to call home. A week had passed since Camilla's arrival at the Rivero mansion. Little by little, she was getting used to the wide hallways and expensive furniture. But something still bothered her. Despite all the beauty and luxury, the place lacked warmth. It was as if the house, so imposing on the outside, was empty on the inside. On a sunny morning, while having breakfast with Emily, the girl commented between spoonfuls of cereal, "This cereal is getting boring. Same thing every day." Camilla looked at the breakfast served by Elena, the housekeeper, imported cereal, toast with French jam, orange juice in crystal glasses. Everything was perfect, but soulless. "What would you like to eat?" Camilla asked. Emily shrugged, swinging her little legs in the high chair. "I don't know. Something different." When August came down, already dressed for work, Camilla noticed how he just drank a quick coffee, without really tasting anything. "Oh, do you always eat like this?" she asked, while Emily colored a drawing. "Like what?" August looked up, surprised by the question. "Like this, without enjoyment. Food is meant to be a pleasure, not just to keep you alive." He smiled faintly. "I think I lost that pleasure a long time ago." After August left for work and Emily was taken to school by the driver, Camilla was left alone in the mansion. She walked to the kitchen, an impressive space with professional equipment that looked like it had never been used. Elena, organizing the pantry, looked at her curiously. "Do you need something, miss?" "Actually, yes," Camilla replied. "I want to cook dinner tonight." The housekeeper seemed confused. "But the chef is coming at 5, as always. The menu is already planned, salmon with herb sauce and asparagus risotto." "Tonight will be different," Camilla stated with a confidence she didn't know she had. "Can you help me get some ingredients?" The afternoon passed with Camilla planning and preparing what would be the first truly homemade dinner in that kitchen in years. Her hands worked with care and precision, remembering the recipes her mother had taught her as a child. The aroma began to spread through the house, a comforting smell that seemed to awaken the rooms themselves from their slumber. The staff passed by the kitchen, drawn by the scent, casting curious glances. At 6, when she heard August's car arriving, Camilla felt a knot in her stomach. What if he didn't like the surprise? What if he thought she was overstepping her bounds? "Daddy!" Emily, who had just arrived from school, ran to the door. Camilla made a huge surprise. August walked in, still distracted by his phone, but stopped when he smelled the aroma filling the house. "What is that?" he asked, looking around as if he didn't recognize his own home. "Dinner," Camilla replied, appearing at the dining room doorway. "It's ready if you'd like to try it." Emily pulled her father by the hand. "Come on, Daddy. It smells so good my tummy is talking." The table was set simply but invitingly. No expensive china or elaborate arrangements, just colorful plates, everyday cutlery and a pitcher of flowers from the garden. In the center was a platter of fluffy white rice, another with steaming beans, a hearty beef stew with potatoes and carrots, and a bowl of fresh, crisp vegetables. "This is..." August seemed to be searching for words. "Real food," Camilla finished, a little nervous. "No complicated names or artistic presentations, just food that feeds the soul." Emily had already climbed into her chair, eager. "Can I eat now? Please, please." Camilla served a little of everything on the girl's plate, while August watched, still surprised by the change in his routine. Hesitantly, he sat down at the table. Emily's first smile upon tasting the rice and beans was worth all the effort. Her little blue eyes widened with pleasure. "This is so good," she exclaimed, taking another generous spoonful. "Daddy, try it. It's better than anything." August, still wary, took a bite. The familiar, comforting flavor hit him like a wave of memories. He remembered his own childhood, when his parents' house was full of aromas and laughter, before the financial empire, before the responsibilities, before the loneliness. "It's delicious," he said, and there was sincerity in his voice. For the first time since Camilla had arrived, the three of them dined like a real family. There were no awkward silences or formalities, just the sound of cutlery, requests to pass the dishes, and Emily's enthusiastic comments. "This is the best food in the world, Daddy," the girl declared, already on her second helping. Her little face was flushed with satisfaction, a smudge of sauce on her chin. "Camilla cooks better than everyone." August looked at his daughter, so happy and relaxed, and then at Camilla, who was watching the scene with a serene smile. Something inside him stirred, an almost forgotten emotion, a warmth he hadn't felt in years. "Thank you," he said simply, but his eyes said much more. After dinner, breaking all the house rules, they lingered at the table. Emily talked about her day at school, August spoke of a funny project at work, and Camilla shared stories from her childhood. Emily's laughter echoed off the walls, which seemed to soak up the sound like a thirsty sponge. The mansion, which had always seemed too big, too cold, began to shrink, to warm up, to come to life. When it was time to put Emily to bed, the girl insisted that they both take her. In her room, Camilla told a story while August watched, sitting on the edge of the bed. The intimacy of that moment, the three of them together in the room lit only by the lamp, created a bubble of warmth that seemed to protect them from the world outside. "I like it when we're all together," Emily murmured, already half asleep. "This is how it should always be." After the girl fell asleep, Camilla and August quietly left the room. In the hallway, he stopped and looked at her as if seeing her for the first time. "You transformed my house today," he said, his voice low and intense. "I just made dinner," she replied modestly. "No, you did much more." August looked around at the walls that now seemed less cold, less distant. "All these years, I filled this mansion with expensive things thinking that would make it a home. But this was missing. The smell of homemade food, conversations at the table, laughter." Camilla smiled, feeling truly useful for the first time in a long while. Sometimes the simplest things matter the most. "Yes," he agreed, and there was a new light in his eyes. "And sometimes we need someone to remind us of that." That night, as the mansion fell silent, something had fundamentally changed. The furniture was still the same. The works of art still hung on the walls. The luxury remained in every detail. But now there was warmth circulating through the hallways, new memories seeping into the walls, promises of more dinners, more stories, more laughter. The Rivero house was finally beginning to transform into a home. Night fell over the Rivero mansion. Emily had been asleep for almost an hour, and a comfortable silence had settled over the house. On the second-floor terrace, Camilla watched the stars, lost in thought. She didn't notice when August approached, 2 glasses of wine in his hands. "Care for some company?" he asked, holding out one of the glasses. Camilla smiled, accepting the wine. "I am, of course." August sat in the chair next to her, contemplating the garden illuminated by small, strategically placed lights. "It's a beautiful night," he commented. "Yes, from where I used to live, you could barely see the stars. Too much city light, tall buildings." Camilla took a sip of wine. "Here, it feels like the sky is bigger." For a few minutes they sat in silence. It wasn't an awkward silence, but a peaceful one, as if words were unnecessary at that moment. "It's been 2 weeks," August said finally, "since you've been here." "It feels longer," she confessed, in a good way. "Emily is happier than I've ever seen her," he continued. "And I confess, the house feels different since you arrived, more alive." Camilla felt her face warm. "I haven't done much." "You've done more than you can imagine." August swirled the glass between his fingers, thoughtful. "You know, I realize I know very little about you. I mean, beyond what I saw at the school." Camilla looked down. It was true. In 2 weeks of living together, they had talked about Emily, about the house, about daily life, but almost nothing about the past, especially hers. "There's not much to know," she murmured. "I doubt that." His voice was gentle, without pressure. "But I understand if you don't want to talk about it." The silence returned, but now it was filled with possibilities. Camilla took another sip of wine, feeling the warm liquid go down her throat, giving her a courage she didn't know she needed. "My parents died when I was 12, she said abruptly. "It was a car accident. They were coming home from work. It was raining. A truck swerved into their lane." August said nothing, just nodded, respecting the moment. "And I didn't have any other close relatives. A distant uncle took me in for a while, but—" She paused, taking a deep breath. "He drank a lot. It wasn't a good place for a child." "I'm so sorry," August said softly. "I ran away when I was 14. I started working as a helper in a diner. I slept in a small room in the back in exchange for extra hours." Camilla looked up at the sky again, as if drawing strength from the stars. "Then I was a cashier, a kitchen assistant, a babysitter, whatever came up." August watched her delicate profile against the soft light of the terrace. For the first time, he saw beyond the shy woman in the grey uniform. He saw a survivor. "And school?" he asked. Camilla gave a sad smile. "That was the biggest price. I always wanted to study. My mother was a first-grade teacher, you know. She always said that education was the one thing no one could take from me." Her voice faltered a bit. "But life had other plans. I needed to work to eat, to have a place to sleep. School got left behind." "You never went back to school?" "I tried a few times, night classes, weekend classes, but I always ended up missing them because of work schedules or because I was too tired." She looked at her hands, long, slender fingers that bore the invisible marks of years of hard work. "After a while, you start to believe that some doors just aren't meant to open for people like me." August felt a lump in his throat. He, who had been born with a silver spoon, who had access to the best schools, who never had to worry about the basics, felt small in the face of this woman's strength. "How did you get the job at the school?" "Through a recommendation from a previous employer. I used to take care of her son," Camilla shrugged. "It wasn't my dream job, but it paid the bills. And, in a way, it kept me close to an educational environment, even if I was just cleaning the floors." A single tear rolled down her face, almost imperceptible in the dim light. Camilla wiped it away quickly. "I'm sorry, I don't usually talk about this." "Don't apologize," August said, his voice softer than Camilla had ever heard it. "You're incredible. You know that." She looked at him, surprised. "Incredible? Me?" "Yes, you." He put his glass on the table and leaned forward slightly, looking her in the eyes. "It was many people would have given up. They would have become bitter or chosen easier, more dangerous paths. But you persevered, maintained your dignity, your open heart. I had no choice. There's always a choice, Camilla, and yours was to be strong, stronger than many people I know, with all the privileges in the world." The sincerity in his words touched her deeply. It wasn't pity she saw in August's eyes, but genuine admiration. "Do you know what hurts the most?" she confessed. "That I still carry this dream with me, to learn, to study, to pick up a book and understand everything, not just the simple words, to one day be able to teach someone something. It's never too late for that," he said with conviction. Camilla smiled, but it was a skeptical smile. "At 23, without even finishing middle school, the world doesn't wait for people like me, August. The world may not, but I will." The firmness in his voice surprised her. August took her hand in his, a simple gesture that carried a silent promise. "Camilla, everyone deserves a second chance. You gave one to my home, to my daughter, to me. Let me return the favor." "How?" "All in good time," he smiled, gently squeezing her hand before letting it go. "Just promise me one thing. Don't give up on that dream, ever." In that moment, something shifted between them. It was no longer just gratitude or convenience that united them, but a deeper understanding. August saw beyond Camilla's fragile facade and found a woman of extraordinary strength, and Camilla, for the first time, allowed herself to be completely seen. They went back to looking at the stars, each lost in their own thoughts. But now, a new thread of hope connected their destinies, stronger than any contract or social arrangement. "Thank you for listening to me," Camilla said finally. "I haven't talked about this in a long time. Thank you for trusting me," he replied. And there, under the starry sky, something began to blossom. Not just mutual respect, but the seed of a deeper feeling that neither of them yet dared to name. The morning after their conversation on the terrace, Camilla woke up with a strange feeling. It was as if a weight had been lifted from her shoulders after sharing her past with August. For years, she had carried her sorrows alone, hiding them from the world. Now someone knew her story, her struggle, her abandoned dreams. During breakfast, August seemed different. More thoughtful, almost distracted, as Emily chattered on about a school project. Camilla watched him discreetly, wondering if he regretted the intimate conversation they had. "Camilla, can you meet me in the office after you take Emily to school?" he asked, finally looking her in the eye. "Of course," she replied, trying to control the nervousness that immediately arose. On the way to school, Emily held her hand tightly, skipping beside her. The driver would take them, but Camilla made a point of walking the girl to her classroom door. "Camilla, why are you so quiet today?" Emily asked, her blue eyes full of childish concern. "I'm just thinking, sweetie." "Thinking about what?" Camilla smiled. "About how quickly life can change." After dropping off Emily, Camilla returned to the mansion with a racing heart. What did August want with her? Was it related to last night's conversation? His office was an imposing space. Floor-to-ceiling bookshelves, a dark, polished wooden desk and large windows overlooking the garden. August was standing by the window when she knocked on the door. "Come in," he said, turning around. "Please, sit down." Camilla obeyed, sitting in the chair across from the desk. Her hands were restless in her lap. "I thought a lot about our conversation last night," August began, sitting down as well. "About you, your story, your interrupted dreams." She just nodded, not knowing what to say. "I've been wondering what I can do for you, Camilla, not as an obligation or a favor, but because I truly want to see you achieve your dreams." "You've already done so much by bringing me here," she replied, looking down. "Giving me a home, treating me with respect. That's the least anyone deserves." August leaned forward, resting his elbows on the desk. "I'm talking about something more. Something no one can ever take from you, as your mother used to say." Camilla's heart sped up. He remembered that detail. "Education," he continued. "I want you to study, Camilla. To pick up where you left off and go further, as far as you want to go." She blinked several times, trying to understand. "Study? But how? I barely finished elementary school. That's exactly why." August opened a folder that was on the desk. "I've hired the best private tutors in the city. They'll come here, adapt the pace to your needs, and you can study at home while taking care of Emily." Camilla looked at the papers he pushed toward her. Resumes of renowned tutors, a study schedule, recommended materials. Everything was carefully planned. "August, I don't know what to say." Her voice broke. "This must cost a fortune." "Money isn't an issue. What's important is that you get the chance you deserve." He looked at her intently. "You're going to study and be whatever you want to be. I believe in you." The words hit Camilla like a wave. "I believe in you." When was the last time someone had said that to her? Maybe never, since her parents' death. Tears began to form in her eyes. "And why are you doing this for me?" she asked, her voice almost a whisper. August hesitated for a moment, as if searching for the answer himself. "Because everyone deserves a second chance. Because Emily adores you. Because—" He paused. "Because you've brought something to this house that all the money in the world couldn't buy. And I want to repay you." Camilla could no longer hold back the tears. They streamed freely down her face as she tried to absorb what was happening. An opportunity she had never imagined possible was being placed before her. "Thank you," she managed to say between sobs. "I don't know how to thank you." "Thank me by studying. By achieving your dreams." August stood up and walked around the desk, stopping beside her. He handed her a handkerchief. "The tutors start next week. Until then, I've prepared some books for you to get familiar with. He pointed to a small stack of books on the side table, adapted classic novels, history books with lots of illustrations, a basic grammar book, a colorful atlas. These are to start slow, he explained. Nothing too complicated yet. Camilla picked up one of the books, running her fingers over the cover as if it were a treasure. To her, it was, "I'll work very hard," she promised, wiping her tears. "I won't waste this chance." When Emily returned from school that afternoon, Camilla and August were waiting for her in the living room. The girl immediately noticed something had changed. Camilla's eyes were shining in a different way, and her father was smiling more than usual. "What happened?" Emily asked, dropping her backpack on the floor. "You guys look like you're up to something." August laughed. "We have some news to tell you, Princess." "What is it?" "What is it?" The girl jumped onto the sofa, eager. "Camilla is going to start studying," he announced. "Tutors will come to the house to teach her, and she's going to learn lots of new things." Emily's little eyes widened. "Like at school? With homework and everything?" "Yes, with homework and everything," Camilla confirmed, smiling. Emily was silent for a second, processing the information. Then her face lit up with a huge smile. "I want to too. Can I study with Camilla, Daddy? Please, please?" August looked at Camilla, who seemed as surprised as he was by the girl's reaction. "Well, Camilla's studies will be different from yours, sweetie. More advanced in some things. But I can stay with her," Emily insisted. "I can draw while she studies, or do my homework from school, please." The little girl's determination was touching. Camilla knelt in front of her. "If your father allows it, I would love to have you by my side while I study," she said. "But we could learn together, each in our own way." August nodded, giving in to their enthusiasm. "All right, as long as you don't disrupt Camilla's lessons, Emily." "I promise, I'll be quiet." The girl threw her arms around Camilla's neck, hugging her tightly. "It's going to be so cool. We're going to be the best students in the world." That night, as she put Emily to bed, Camilla noticed the girl was especially restless. "What's wrong, little one? Not sleepy?" "I'm thinking about us studying together," Emily replied, hugging her stuffed bunny. "It'll be like having a big sister." Camilla felt a pang in her chest. "A sister?" "Yeah. Or..." Emily hesitated, biting her lip. "Or maybe like having a mommy. Do you mind if I think of it that way?" The question caught Camilla off guard. She looked at this child who, in such a short time, had completely captured her heart. "I don't mind at all," she answered, stroking the golden curls. "It's an honor that you think of me that way." The following days were a whirlwind of preparations. One of the guest rooms was transformed into a study, with a large desk, bookshelves, and a small whiteboard on the wall. August personally selected each item, thinking of Camilla's comfort and needs. When Monday arrived, Camilla woke before dawn, too nervous to stay asleep. She carefully chose what to wear, simple jeans and a light blue blouse August had given her. She tied her hair in a high ponytail, no longer the tight bun she wore as a cleaning lady. Her first tutor arrived at 9 o'clock sharp, a middle-aged man with graying hair and kind eyes. He was the English and literature tutor. "Miss Torres," he greeted her formally. "It's a pleasure to meet you. I am Professor Martins." "The pleasure is mine," she replied, trying to hide her nervousness. As promised, Emily sat in the corner of the room with her own books and drawing supplies, surprisingly quiet and well-behaved. The first lesson was a diagnostic assessment. Camilla felt ashamed of her limitations, the basic mistakes she made, the words she didn't know. But the professor was patient and kind. "You have a solid foundation," he commented at the end. "Your mother must have been an excellent teacher. We'll build on that." That afternoon, when August returned from work, he found Camilla hunched over books in the study, completely absorbed. He watched her for a moment, noticing how she bit her lip in concentration, how her fingers traced the lines on the paper. "How was the first day?" he finally asked. She looked up and her face lit up with a smile. "Amazing." "Hard, challenging, but amazing." "And you, Princess?" August turned to Emily Hun, who was drawing intently. "Were you well behaved?" "I was the best helper in the world," the girl declared proudly. The professor even gave me a star sticker. Look." She showed him the golden sticker on her little hand. "I'm proud of both of you," August said, smiling. The weeks passed, and the study routine was established. Every morning, different tutors came: English, math, science, history, geography. In the afternoons, Camilla practiced on her own, doing exercises, reading the recommended books. The transformation began subtly. First, it was her posture, her back straighter, her chin slightly lifted. Then, her gaze, firmer, more direct, without the shadow of insecurity that once dominated it. Within a month, Camilla no longer looked like the same person. It wasn't just the knowledge she eagerly absorbed, but the confidence that grew within her. She started wearing her hair down more often, letting the brown locks frame her face. Her clothes, though still simple, became more feminine: colorful blouses, light skirts, casual dresses. August noticed every change, every detail. He saw how Camilla now looked people directly in the eye when she spoke, how her voice had gained firmness, how her face lit up when she discussed something she had learned. One evening at dinner, she excitedly explained to Emily about the stars and constellations she had studied that day. "And did you know that some of the stars we see in the sky don't even exist anymore? Their light takes so long to reach us that, by the time we see it, the star may have died a long time ago." Emily listened, fascinated, asking questions that Camilla answered with patience and enthusiasm. August watched the scene, completely enchanted. It was as if a rare flower was blooming before his very eyes. "You're different," he commented later after Emily had gone to bed. Camilla blushed slightly. "Different how?" "More alive, more you." She smiled, a smile that lit up her entire face. "That's how I feel, like I'm finally finding myself." The next day, while Camilla was studying in the library, Emily approached her with a drawing in her hands. "I made this for you," the girl said shyly. Camilla took the paper and felt a lump in her throat. The drawing showed 3 figures holding hands: a tall man in a suit, clearly August, a blonde girl in a pink dress, Emily, and a woman with long hair and a big smile, herself. Above the figures, in colorful, uneven letters, was written, "My family." "It's beautiful, Emily," Camilla murmured, tears in her eyes. "It's the 3 of us," the girl explained, unnecessarily. "Because we're a family now, right?" Camilla hugged the child tightly, unable to respond with words. In that moment, she realized how much she had gained in the past few weeks. Not just knowledge, not just confidence, but a sense of belonging she had never experienced since her parents' death. Later, she hung the drawing on her bedroom wall. Looking at the 3 figures holding hands, she couldn't help but smile. Somehow, that 5-year-old girl had understood something profound that adults often forgot: that family isn't just about blood or a name, but about connection, care, and love. That night, August found Camilla on the terrace, watching the stars. He stood beside her in silence, admiring her profile against the night sky. She was no longer the scared, hunched woman he had found cleaning the school hallways. She was a woman who was growing, blooming, daring to dream. "Thank you," she said, without taking her eyes off the sky, "for believing in me." "I always will," he replied simply. And under the same stars that Camilla now knew by name, something new and delicate grew between them, something neither was ready to name, but that both were beginning to feel with increasing intensity. 3 months had passed since Camilla began her studies. The progress she had made surprised even the most experienced tutors. Her thirst for knowledge, combined with her tireless dedication, produced impressive results. She was already reading fluently, had mastered basic math operations, and absorbed history and geography information with ease. On a Thursday, after her science class, August knocked on the study door. Camilla looked up from her books, smiling when she saw him. "May I interrupt?" he asked. "Of course," Camilla replied, closing the notebook where she was taking notes on the solar system. August entered, holding a flat, rectangular box. Emily, who was drawing in the corner of the room, immediately dropped her pencils and ran to her father. "What's that, Daddy? A present?" "Yes, Princess." "But it's not for you this time," he replied, affectionately ruffling his daughter's golden curls. Camilla looked confusedly at the box August placed on the table. "For me?" "To celebrate your incredible progress in your studies," he explained. "All the tutors are impressed, and so am I." "You didn't have to," Camilla began, blushing slightly. "Open it," Emily interrupted, jumping with anticipation. With hesitant fingers, Camilla untied the ribbon and opened the box. Pushing aside the tissue paper, she revealed a deep blue dress, elegant and sophisticated. She had never seen anything so beautiful, let alone owned something like it. "August, She touched the delicate fabric, speechless. "There's more," he said, looking almost shy. "I've booked a table at Le Ciel for tonight, for the three of us. I thought we could celebrate properly." Camilla's eyes widened. Le Ciel was the most elegant restaurant in the city, frequented only by the elite. She had never imagined setting foot in such a place. "Are we having dinner in a castle?" Emily asked, her eyes shining. August laughed. "Almost, Princess. It's a very special restaurant, at the top of a building. You can see the whole city from there." "And I'm going too." Emily's excitement was contagious. "Of course, you are. We're a family, remember?" August looked at Camilla as he said this, as if seeking confirmation. She just nodded, still speechless at his gesture. An elegant dinner, a formal dress, a celebration of her studies. It felt like a dream. "At 7, August said, walking to the door. As he left, he turned. "Dose, and there are shoes and other things to match in your room." That afternoon was a whirlwind of preparations. Camilla took a long bath, letting the hot water relax her anxious muscles. In her room, besides the dress, she found a box of high-heeled shoes, a small elegant handbag, and even a makeup kit. She had never worn makeup beyond a simple lipstick. With trembling hands, she followed the instructions of a quick tutorial she found online. The result wasn't professional, but it subtly enhanced her eyes and lips. The dress fit her like a glove. The soft fabric hugged her curves elegantly without being revealing. She looked at herself in the mirror and almost didn't recognize the woman looking back, confident, beautiful, transformed. At 7 o'clock sharp, she took a deep breath and left her room. At the top of the stairs, she hesitated. She could hear August and Emily talking in the living room below. With one last breath to gather her courage, she began to descend. The sound of her heels on the marble caught their attention. August, once elegant in his dark suit, turned to look at her. The words he was about to say died on his lips. Camilla descended the stairs as if in slow motion. The blue dress highlighted her fair skin and brown hair, now loose in soft waves that framed her face. There was a grace to her movements, a subtle confidence that had never been there before. Emily was the first to react. Her little blue eyes widened, and she clapped her hands with joy. "Camilla, you look like a princess," the girl exclaimed, running to meet her at the bottom of the stairs. The most beautiful of all, August remained motionless, watching her with an expression Camilla couldn't decipher. Was it approval, surprise, something more? "You look," he finally said, his voice lower than usual. "You look stunning." Camilla felt her face warm at the sincere compliment. "Thank you for the dress. It's the most beautiful I've ever seen." "It's not the dress," he replied, stepping closer. "It's you." In the car on the way to the restaurant, Emily couldn't stop talking about how they looked like characters from one of her fairy tale books. Camilla smiled, but inside she was nervous. What would it be like to enter such a sophisticated place? Le Ciel was on the top floor of one of the city's tallest buildings. As they entered, they were greeted by an elegant maitre d' who led them to a table near the windows with a panoramic view of the city lights. "Mr. Rivero, a pleasure to have you again," the man said, pulling out the chair for Camilla. "Your favorite table, as requested." Camilla felt curious glances from other patrons. Some whispered, others watched discreetly. She could imagine what they were thinking. Who was this woman with August Rivero? "Don't mind them," August murmured, noticing her discomfort. "They're just admiring your beauty." As they dined, Camilla noticed a group of women at a nearby table. One of them looked familiar. It was Mrs. Preston, one of the mothers from St. George's Academy, who had humiliated her on that fateful day. The woman stared at her with wide eyes, clearly trying to connect this elegant figure with the janitor in the grey uniform. When their eyes met, Camilla didn't look away. Instead, she smiled politely and turned her attention back to Emily, who was trying to use her cutlery like a lady. "Daddy, can I have dessert?" the girl asked, after finishing her main course. "Of course, Princess. It's a special night." While Emily was distracted by her ice cream, decorated like a small chocolate castle, August leaned toward Camilla. "Do you realize how everyone is looking at you?" he asked softly. "It's strange," she admitted. "I'm used to being invisible." "You were never invisible to me." He took her hand across the table. "Not after that first day, when I saw how you treated Emily." Camilla felt the warmth of his hand on hers. It was a simple gesture, but filled with meaning. You know," August continued, his voice even lower, "that day at the gathering, it was an impulse to propose to you, but it was the best decision of my life." Camilla's heart raced. They had never spoken about the marriage proposal since she moved into the mansion. It was like a tacit agreement between them, something for the indefinite future. "August, let me finish," he requested gently. "In these past months, watching you blossom, take care of Emily, bring life to our home, I've realized something." He took a deep breath. "You are the woman I've always dreamed of having by my side. Not for your looks, although you are absolutely beautiful tonight, but for who you are." Tears threatened to form in Camilla's eyes. She squeezed August's hand, unable to speak. "I'm not asking for an answer now," he continued. "I just wanted you to know how I feel." "I already have an answer," Camilla finally said, her voice choked with emotion. "Since the first day you treated me like a person, not a cleaning lady. Since you trusted me to care for Emily. Since you believed in my potential." She took a deep breath. "I fell in love with you, August. Not for your money or what you can give me, but for the man you are." The world around them seemed to disappear. In that moment, it was just the two of them, connected by something that transcended the circumstances that had brought them together. "Look, Daddy!" Emily's voice broke the moment. "I finished all my ice cream." August and Camilla pulled apart, smiling at the girl. But their hands remained joined across the table, a silent symbol of the promise they had just made to each other. That night, under the starry sky, seen from the windows of Le Ciel, Camilla's transformation was complete. It wasn't just her appearance or her education, it was her heart that had finally found a place to call its own. A place beside August and Emily, not as an intruder or a guest, but as an essential part of a family. The day dawned perfectly, as if the sky itself was conspiring to bless their union. Golden rays of sun streamed through the windows of the suite where Camilla was getting ready, casting a play of light and shadow on the white dress resting on the bed. 6 months had passed since the dinner at Le Ciel, enough time to prepare a ceremony that, though not grand, would be unforgettable. August had insisted on respecting Camilla's wish for something intimate and meaningful, with only close friends and people who truly mattered. "Are you nervous?" asked Elena, the housekeeper, who was helping with the final touches. Camilla took a deep breath, looking at her reflection in the mirror. "A little. It feels like a dream." Her hair was styled in an elegant updo with a few loose strands framing her face. The makeup, soft but precise, enhanced her eyes and lips. It was hard to believe the transformation she had undergone in recent months, not just physical, but internal. A soft knock on the door interrupted her thoughts. It was Emily, already dressed as a flower girl, a little angel in her light pink dress. "Camilla, can I come in?" The excited little voice came through the door. "Of course, sweetie." The girl ran in, stopping abruptly when she saw Camilla. Her little blue eyes widened in admiration. "You're more beautiful than all the princesses combined," she exclaimed, approaching carefully so as not to wrinkle her own dress. Camilla knelt to hug her. "And you're the most beautiful flower girl in the world." "Daddy's nervous," Emily confided seriously. He keeps fixing his tie and pacing back and forth." That made Camilla smile. Imagining August, always so composed, acting nervously like any other groom, brought a wave of tenderness. "Tell him everything is okay," she replied, "and that I can't wait to see him." The ceremony was to be held in the mansion's gardens, which had been transformed into a fairy tale setting. An aisle of white and blue flowers led to an elegant arch, where August waited with the officiant. Only 50 guests were present, close friends, some of Camilla's tutors who had become important in her life, and a few of August's work colleagues. There was no one from Camilla's old life. This absence wasn't painful but symbolic. Today marked not just a union, but the definitive start of a new chapter. When the music began to play, a soft melody of violins, everyone turned towards the beginning of the aisle. Emily appeared first, walking with the dignity a 5-year-old flower girl could muster, scattering rose petals along the path with practiced movements. Then there was a moment of suspense, and Camilla emerged. The white dress was simple and elegant, no frills or ostentation, just pure lines that hugged her curves delicately. The short veil didn't hide her face, allowing everyone to see her radiant smile and shining eyes. She walked alone. There was no father to give her away, but that didn't diminish her confidence. Every step was firm, her head held high, her eyes fixed on August, who awaited her with a look that mixed admiration and love. No one seeing her now could imagine that, less than a year ago, this same woman was cleaning the floors of a school, hunched over in a grey uniform, invisible to society. The transformation was complete, not just external, but a metamorphosis of soul and spirit. Upon reaching the altar, August held out his hand to her, their fingers intertwined naturally, as if they were made to meet. "You look stunning," he whispered. "And you're trembling," she replied with a tender smile. The officiant began the ceremony, speaking of unexpected journeys and encounters that transform lives. The words seemed to float on the fragrant afternoon air, enveloping the bride and groom in a bubble of emotion. When it came time for the vows, August spoke first. "Camilla, when I proposed to you that day, not even I fully understood what moved me. Today I know it was the beginning of a journey that has brought us here, not out of obligation or convention, but out of true love. I promise to honor this love every day, respecting who you are and celebrating who you are becoming. You turned my house into a home, my life into fulfillment, and for that, I will love you until my last breath." Silent tears streamed down Camilla's face as she responded. "August, you saw me when I was invisible. You gave me a voice when I was silent. You gave me wings when I could barely walk. I promise to dedicate every day to returning that faith, that love, that trust. Not as gratitude, but as a true partnership, building our story, our family, our future together." Emily, who had been watching everything with solemn attention, couldn't contain a little jump of joy when the rings were exchanged, and when the officiant finally pronounced, "I present to you Mr. and Mrs. Rivero." The little girl ran to hug them both, completing the perfect picture of the new family. The kiss that sealed their union was soft and deep, filled with promises. When they parted, the guests' applause seemed distant. What mattered was right there in that circle of 3 people who had found in each other the meaning of home. During the reception, as they danced their first waltz as husband and wife, August whispered in Camilla's ear, "How does it feel, Mrs. Rivero?" She smiled, feeling the delightful weight of that new name, that new identity. She was no longer the faceless cleaning lady, the orphan girl with no opportunities, the invisible woman in the corners of society. "I feel visible," she replied simply, "completely visible." And it was true. In August's eyes, in Emily's hugs, in the smiles of the guests, in the ring that shone on her finger, in all of this, Camilla finally existed in her entirety. The journey from invisibility to fulfillment was complete. Autumn arrived, painting the trees in shades of red and gold. 6 months had passed since the wedding, and life in the Rivero mansion continued in harmony. Camilla carried on with her studies with dedication, now focused on preparing for college. August supported her unconditionally, and Emily was growing up happily in the loving environment the three had built together. On a sunny October morning during breakfast, Emily made an important announcement. "Next week is the science fair at school. All the parents are going." August looked at his daughter over his coffee cup. "Is that so? And what will you be presenting, Princess?" "A project about the stars," the girl replied excitedly. "Camilla helped me. We made a map of the sky with constellations that glow in the dark." Camilla smiled proudly. For the past few weeks, the two had worked together on the project, using the knowledge Camilla had gained in her astronomy lessons. "It's going to be the best project in the class," Emily assured them, swinging her little legs under the table. "Then, of course, we'll be there," August said. Then, noticing the sudden tension in Camilla's shoulders, he added, "All of us." Camilla met his gaze. They hadn't been back to St. George's Academy since that fateful day of the gathering. Although Emily still attended school there, it was the driver who took her and picked her up daily. "Yes," Camilla agreed after a moment. "We'll all be there." Later, when they were alone, August brought up the subject. "Are you sure you're ready to go back? We can make an excuse." Camilla shook her head. "No, it's time to close that chapter. Besides, it's important for Emily that we're there as a family." August admired her for a moment. "You know what impresses me most about you? Your ability to turn painful experiences into strength." Camilla intertwined her fingers with his. "Maybe that's because I finally have something to be strong for." The following week, the day of the science fair arrived. Camilla chose her outfit carefully. An elegant light blue dress, hair down in soft waves, light makeup that enhanced her natural beauty. She wanted to look pretty, yes, but mostly she wanted to feel comfortable and authentic. Standing before the mirror, adjusting the delicate pearl necklace August had given her, Camilla hardly recognized the woman staring back. It wasn't just the clothes or the hair, it was the confident gaze, the upright posture, the aura of dignity that now enveloped her. The car pulled up in front of the school, and Camilla felt her heart race. Memories of those hallways, of the disdainful looks, of the laughter behind her back. She took a deep breath, squeezing August's hand. "We're in this together," he reminded her, as if reading her thoughts. Emily, too excited about her project to notice the tension, was already jumping out of the car. "Let's go, the fair has already started." The central courtyard was transformed. Tables with science projects filled the space, and excited children explained their experiments to parents and teachers. Soft music played in the background, and colorful posters decorated the walls. The entrance of the Rivero family did not go unnoticed. First, it was the children who recognized Emily and waved. Then, the adults began to take notice. August, as always, drew attention with his imposing presence. But this time, it was Camilla who attracted the most intense gazes. That? It can't be. She looks so different." Camilla caught fragments of conversations as they walked. She kept her head held high, her arm linked delicately with August's. "Let's see your project first, Emily," she suggested, keeping her voice calm despite her racing heart. They passed a group of mothers chatting in a closed circle. Camilla immediately recognized Mrs. Preston and her friends, the same group that had humiliated her at that fateful gathering. The conversation stopped abruptly when they noticed who was passing by. "Good morning, ladies," Camilla greeted politely, with a slight smile, before continuing on her way. The soft perfume she wore left a trail in the air, another mark of her presence that could no longer be ignored. Emily's project was set up near the window, a diorama of the night sky, with constellations cut out of black cardstock and painted with phosphorescent paint. The girl was excitedly explaining to two classmates how the stars formed pictures in the sky. "And this one is Orion, the hunter," she was saying, pointing. "It has 3 stars in its belt. Look, my mum taught me all about the constellations." The word mum made Camilla freeze for a second. It was the first time Emily had called her that in public. She felt her eyes well up, but maintained her composure, smiling at the girl who continued her enthusiastic explanation. The school principal, Mr. Thompson, cautiously approached the group. The same man who barely noticed Camilla when she cleaned the hallways now bowed slightly, nervously. "Mr. and Mrs. Rivero," he greeted formally. It's a pleasure to have you here today. Emily's project is impressive, he continued. I see it's influenced by advanced knowledge. Camilla has been studying astronomy, August explained with pride. Among other subjects, she's preparing to apply for college next year. The principal seemed genuinely surprised. That is admirable. Congratulations, Mrs. Rivero. Thank you, Camilla replied simply. Education has always been my dream. Now I can achieve it. The subtlety of the message was not lost on him. The principal nodded, embarrassed, and soon found an excuse to walk away. While Emily continued to explain her project, Camilla excused herself to go to the restroom. August squeezed her hand in silent support. The school hallways were almost empty. Camilla walked slowly, her heels echoing on the marble floor she had cleaned so many times. She looked at the colorful murals on the walls, the classrooms she had never entered except to clean. It was strange to be there as a visitor, as a student's mother, as an equal. Turning a corner, she ran into Elena, the former coordinator who had always treated her with indifference. Camilla! The woman seemed genuinely perplexed. Is that really you? Hello, Elena, she replied calmly. Yes, it's me. You look different. The woman's eyes scanned her elegant dress, her shiny hair, her confident posture. Camilla smiled. Life changes, doesn't it? But yes, I am different, inside and out. I heard about your wedding. Elena seemed to choose her words carefully. It was a surprise to everyone. I imagine so. Camilla maintained her upright posture, her direct gaze. No longer the woman who shrank in the corners. Life is full of surprises like that. An uncomfortable silence settled between them until Elena finally said, I wanted to apologize for the way we treated you here. It wasn't right. Camilla hadn't expected that. She studied the woman's face, searching for signs of insincerity, but saw only genuine regret. Thank you, she replied sincerely. It means a lot to hear that. Back in the courtyard, she found August chatting with some parents while Emily proudly showed her project to the fair judges. Seeing her approach, August put his arm around her waist in a natural gesture of affection. Everything okay? He asked softly. Better than I imagine, she replied, relaxing against him. The rest of the morning passed smoothly. Emily won an honorable mention for her project on constellations, which made her ecstatic. The small gold medal she received was immediately shown to everyone, her little face flushed with pride. Camilla and August visited the other projects, talked with teachers, and interacted with other parents, like any normal family. The stares continued, now mixed with admiration and curiosity. Some parents even approached, striking up polite conversations, asking about Camilla, her studies, her plans. The transformation was palpable, not just in Camilla, but in the way the world now perceived her. From invisible to admired, from ignored to respected. On the way home, Emily fell asleep in the back seat, exhausted but happy with her success. The medal still hung from her neck, shining against her little dress. How do you feel? August asked, driving calmly. Camilla looked out the window, watching the city go by. At peace, like I've come full circle. You were incredible back there. Did you see how everyone looked at you? I did, she replied, smiling. But you know what I realized? It doesn't matter anymore. Before, it hurt to be invisible. Today, I don't need their approval to feel whole. August took her hand and kissed it gently. That's freedom, true freedom. At home, while Emily was still napping, Camilla had an idea. It's a beautiful day. Why don't we have a picnic in the garden when she wakes up, to celebrate her success at the fair? August smiled. Perfect. They prepared a basket together with sandwiches, fruit, juice, and homemade cookies. They spread a checkered blanket on the grass and under the shade of a leafy tree. Colorful cushions made the space even cozier. When Emily woke up, she was delighted with the surprise. A real picnic, just like in the books, she exclaimed, running across the lawn. And all because of my medal. Because of your medal, your intelligence, and because we love you, Camilla replied, helping her sit among the cushions. The afternoon sun created golden patches through the leaves. Sitting on the blanket, the three of them shared not just food, but stories, plans, and dreams. Emily excitedly told them how her teacher was impressed with her knowledge of stars. She said she's never seen a student my age know so much, and she asked where I learned it, and I said, "You taught me, Mommy." The word came out naturally, as if it had always been there. Camilla exchanged an emotional look with August. "When I grow up, I want to be an astronomer," Emily declared, biting into a sandwich, "and discover a new star to name after our family." "The Rivero star," August said, pretending to contemplate the sky. "Sounds important." "The brightest of all," Camilla added, stroking the girl's golden hair. Emily, with the spontaneity of children, picked up the camera she had gotten for her birthday. "I want a picture of my family, the best family in the world." August and Camilla moved closer, hugging Emily between them. The girl stretched out her arm, trying to frame the three of them in the small viewfinder. "Say happiness," she commanded. "Happiness," they replied in unison, genuine smiles lighting up their faces. The flash went off, capturing the moment. Not just three smiling people, but a true family, built not by blood, but by love, respect, and conscious choice. Afterwards, they lay on the grass, watching the clouds pass in the bright blue sky. "That one looks like a castle," Emily pointed out. "Find that one over there, a dragon," said August. "I see an open book," Camilla commented. Emily turned to her, curious. "A book? Why?" Camilla smiled, stroking the girl's golden curls. "Because our story is still being written, my love. And it's the most beautiful story I've ever lived." August intertwined his fingers with hers, a simple gesture that carried promises of the future. There, in that garden bathed in the golden light of dusk, Camilla felt a fullness she had never imagined possible. From an orphan girl to an invisible cleaning lady, and now to a fulfilled woman. Her journey had been unlikely, painful at times, but incredibly rewarding. "What are you thinking about?" August asked, noticing her distant gaze. "About how life comes full circle," she replied. "About how sometimes we have to get completely lost to find our true path." Emily, tired of cloud watching, was now running through the garden, chasing a butterfly. Her crystal-clear laughter filled the air like music. "You brought life to this house," August said, watching his daughter. "To us before, we were just two people living under the same roof. Now we're a real family." "And you gave me a home," Camilla replied. "Not just a roof over my head, but a place where I can be myself, where I can grow, dream, and love." In the distance, Emily waved, calling them to see something she had discovered. They stood up and walked hand in hand toward her. The girl was pointing to a small nest in a bush, where three tiny blue birds were snuggled together. "A little bird family," she exclaimed, "just like ours." Camilla felt her eyes well up. Yes, just like theirs, a family built by destiny, by chance, by love. A family that, against all odds, had found its way to happiness. August hugged them both, forming a perfect circle of affection. The golden late afternoon light bathed them, creating an almost magical aura around them. "We made it, didn't we?" he whispered in Camilla's ear. She nodded, words unnecessary in that moment of pure connection. The invisible cleaning lady was gone forever. In her place stood Camilla Rivero, wife, mother, student, dreamer. A woman who finally occupied her space in the world, with her head held high, her heart open, her soul complete. Amidst laughter and hugs, under a sky beginning to tint with orange, the Rivero family celebrated not just a perfect day, but the extraordinary journey that had brought them together. And Camilla, watching the two beings who had transformed her life, knew with absolute certainty she was finally home. If this story touched your heart, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next ones. Leave a like because it helps this story get recommended to more people. See you in the next story.